saying like shine light, right? We're golden, we showed it, we're diamonds, defining the best ones of the last ones, horizons and horizons. Come on, yeah. Reformation. Time has come for us to reshape ourselves in the image of the Almighty Elohim. We are the vital movement of the greatest forces ever. Take your place among the colossus known as the American. We have all that we need.
High new peace and blessings. Wonderful people in this space. One time for the one time. I see you, Master Menelec. Peace to you, Aki Jason. Peace to you, Sovereign Eats. Peace, Softer Naya. I gotta get used to that. All right, I ain't gonna lie. It was a coaching. Now we going to Softer. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Peace, Abba Harut. Peace, Akoti Yafe. Peace, Akoti Aquia. Alpha Woman Now. Steve Kira Eden. Peace to you. Peace, Aki Darian. All right. So, what we have today is, of course, y'all know one. This title, I was going back and forth with it, which I think something better is true or false, but screw it. We got heads or tails. So, as we were building as a community the other day, I was started to think of some things that people say when we were youth that ultimately may have contributed to us maybe stepping out and doing something and accomplishing something, or something that has some sayings that might have been debilitating and maybe gave us some paralysis and didn't allow us to move and get out and expand. It's almost like the movie Avatar, right? And I've said this before in a study group one time, where it's like having Chief, and I don't know when Jake Sully was going through the woods and he was talking to the scientist who was telling him, don't run from this certain thing, because if you run from this certain thing, you're just going to make it worse. It's going to get 10 times worse. So then there was another animal that came up, And he's like, well, what about this one? She's like, run, definitely run, right? But just understanding what was going on in front of them. And when you have somebody that can say, hold on, you know what? Let's take a look at this and let's see what this is, so that therefore one can start to expand and one can start to grow. And you understand now how to maneuver and how to navigate and traverse through the world that's in front of you. Well, the thing that I want to start to explore are some of the sayings that maybe our parents have said, or maybe somebody has said when we were younger or when we started to get older, and maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe there's no truth to it at all. So today, I'm calling for some interaction. All right. I know sometimes I get on here and I just start, but today we're going to do something a little different. I need your fingers and your thumbs to work, to say if you've heard these sayings before, and what are your thoughts on these sayings. And I've compiled some from my constituents, some of my siblings, but nonetheless, I'm going to post some of them up here, and we're going to look at some of them and see, you know what, I've heard that one before, and that actually prevented me from doing some of the things that I wanted to do. Or I've heard that one before, and that was actually a plus for me in expanding and growing. Or you might have some that you do not see today, which I put some on here. Maybe we'll make it through it, and maybe we won't. But we'll have some on here today that you don't see, that you can put on here as well. All right, so let's do it. The first one that I'm going to put up here, there's no particular order. All right, but if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you jump too? All right. If everyone jumped off of a bridge, would you jump too? Now, one, have you heard this? And two, would you say that it is true? And if it's true, what would you say that they're implying in this? Would you? Now, I'll start, because as we wait on some of your answers to come in, it was almost in a sense that this one is all about having your own mind, like, right? Like, if as soon as you do something that somebody else did that was stupid, then I would come home, or somebody would say, man, if everybody jumped off a bridge, you gonna jump too? Think, man, think. And it's like, don't just be a part of the sheep or part of the herd, walking in a line that everybody else is walking in, but walking to their demise. And I can almost equate that to The Walking Dead or zombies, right? And how do you get a zombie's attention? You make a lot of noise. You start to make whatever the case may be, where you just get their attention, and then everybody starts walking in a mindless, brainless, consuming fashion. So it would almost be too, if one was to start to put certain ads in front of somebody, or if one was to start to say, yeah, you need to have this shirt, or you need to have this thing, and then people start to, oh no, I gotta have this, because if I don't have this, then I'm not part of the in crowd. And it's like, if everyone jumped off, are you gonna jump? Are you gonna do the same thing that everybody else has done, or are you going to think for yourself? All right. So I'm gonna read some comments, and then we're gonna move on to another one. So Aki Jason, he says, never heard it. All right. And the Koti Yafe says, are you going to follow the crowd even if it was dangerous? Right. Now here's the thing though. Is it cool sometimes to follow the crowd? I mean, can this now have a flip side to it, where some people start to think in their own head that I have to be different. I have to do something totally different than what everybody else is doing, which ultimately then becomes problematic. Could that be the same as well? Or does this mean just one way of, don't follow the crowd, because the crowd is going to get you messed up? All right. Abba Harut says, I've heard it. No, I wouldn't jump off the bridge. All right. Emanaya, or Softanaya, sorry. See, here we go. I've heard that one. It took I took it to mean you're gonna follow the crowd if the crowd is stupid. Okay. All right. Alpha Woman Now says, definitely heard this one. It's a change to not follow, but it's a charge to not follow, but we are taught when living righteously, we must follow a righteous head. See, here we go. All right. Here we go. Couple of Master Middlex says he's heard it. And Maquia, Peace of New Radio, and Peace Sovereign E. Sovereign E says, yes, it speaks to conformity, herd mentality, and pushes us beyond the fear of missing out. Man, how many times do people feel like they're going to miss out on something and then they just start following along? It's like, just think, right? Think for 2 seconds of what you are doing and what begins to happen as the result of your actions, all right? Which, all right, I'm gonna go to another one that maybe people have heard and maybe not. But have you ever heard somebody say, his house, his business? His house, his business. You know, don't worry about what everybody else has got going on. That's what they have going on. So you keep it moving, and it is what it is. Basically, worry about yourself. In a sense, is what I got from it, right? But at the same time, I'm going to ask this while you guys say if this is one that is familiar with you, then if this is one that you would say, well, hold on, somebody might have some moral or ethical reasons of why what is going on in somebody else's house should be addressed, right? So if one just can't, because as one of the things that is said in Anu is, you know, you may not see the small on somebody's back. I mean, you can't see the small on your own back. You're going to have somebody else that may point that out to you. So does this apply, or does this start to now hinder one when it's servicing in a community that starts to say, you should speak up and you should say something? So what do y'all think? I got Master Middlex. He says it's a charge to not engage in behavior without critically thinking about your decision/choice. Just following orders or everybody was doing it is a common excuse when it blows up in one's face. I think, yes, you're talking about if everybody was jumping off the bridge. So, yeah, it's a charge not to engage in behavior without critically thinking about your decisions/choice. Right. Just following orders or everybody was doing it is an uncommon excuse. There we go. All right. So here we go. Achi Jason said, I must be living under a rock. Never heard that one too. All right. Well, don't worry. You're going to learn today. You're going to learn today. Sovereignty says, nope. I heard the equivalent. MYOB over there. Mind your own business. Mind your own business. All right. Abu Haruk, he says, no, I haven't heard. Their house is their business. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Softanai says, I've heard a version of that one, multiple meanings. One being mind your business. If you're not living in that house, also everyone doesn't live the same way. Right. Now, if they're in your community, does the same expression apply, or does this apply to people outside of your community? How would you look at that one? What would you say? What you gonna say? What you gonna say? What you gonna say? All right, and Akidarian, he said he ain't never heard of it either. All right. Emma Yakira says, I've never heard that one, but I say when living as one community, that wouldn't apply. Okay. All right. And I think I would side with that. I think I would side saying that if you're in the community, his house, his business, it's like if you're doing something that's detrimental to the community, it ain't just your business. It's everybody's business, because ultimately everybody's going to have to pay the price for that. So one should speak up. So one that might be a little problematic when it starts to come to helping out in the community. All right, so I got another one. Let me see if anybody else has before I move on. All right, moving on. Let's see. Emma Aquia says, if we are in the community, the same would not apply. I think of the saying of it takes a village. There we go. And Sister Yafe says the family or house is a microcosm of the community, so it wouldn't apply. If you are in the same community, right? We are charged, and Emma Alpha. Yeah. Emma says we are charged to be models, so I'd say the expectation is to reflect what is best, and one might need to speak up even then. We are to civilize the blind, deaf, and dumb. Right. And I think it's important to also say, though, in your community, you can start to engage in a bunch of senseless bickering and back and forth with somebody who has no inkling of trying to live whatever your culture is, and then you start trying to cash your pearls of swine. There's another one, right? All right, so here's another one. What goes on in this house stays in this house. All right. Now that's one usually in the melanin dominant community, you were told to not say anything outside of this house. And if something had happened in this house that maybe have problematic, look, you don't want everybody else in your business. Is this one that should be applied? Is this one that might have been detrimental to one's own learning or being able to speak freely to maybe if they sat down and spoke to a counselor or spoke to somebody and they were taught, yeah, you know what, I can't really speak about that or learn how to express myself because I was told to suppress whatever issue that I had. Do you feel like that has had some growth experience as far as being able to not have everybody else in your business, where maybe you don't want everybody else to talk, like they don't have nothing to say about you, so you keep it moving? Or do you feel as if this was problematic in a sense? So what goes on in this house stays in this house. All right. We got Massimino. I think these are the other ones. Inside, Sovereignty says, I would say that this one requires us to be discerning about the business. This means hollow dialogue about the business is inappropriate. Right? Massimino says, inside your community, it don't fly. If the community does not support using, selling narcotics, sexual or physical abuse, or refusal to take care of economic responsibilities, no bueno. I mean, if you're in a community and everybody is living by the same doctrine, and you start smoking or drinking, you just chilling there. Hey, no, that's not what we do. Tighten up. All right. So, Akoti Yafe says definitely heard that one. Emma Yakira says her lived by it and says it was detrimental when living worldly. Right. Okay, Aki Jason in the game, man. Okay, you're in something similar. But what was the saying that you had, Aki Jason? What did you hear? And Emanaya said, Softenaya. I've heard it, had to abide by it, and have said it. Oh, okay. I'm wondering if when people say it, I mean, and I understand that there's a line, especially like if somebody is telling you something that I'm being in confidentiality. Yeah. Right. And I'm telling you, like, this is between us. Yeah, you hold on to it. But then at the same time, I think it becomes an issue when one wants to sit down and actually say, you know, these are some of the things that I'm holding on to that ultimately I haven't been able to make sense of. But because I haven't been able to make sense of, but then I still have this replaying in the back of my head was what goes on in this house stays in this house, can become an issue. Abba Harut says, yep, I've heard of it. What happened in this house stays in this house. Alpha Woman says, we recognize the relationship between secret and sacred of here. Yeah, okay. Come with it then. Secret and sacred. I like it. Sovereignty says, I agree about discerning engaging because even our new courtship is not everyone's business, not until a union is formed. There is good point. Good point. Good point. All right. Business not until a union is formed. I guess there's more coming. Quia says, I heard of it, but if we're in a community, then Ujama should be in application. All right. Jason Diop. Aki Jason says, stuff like that, don't share or let anyone know what our financial situations are. Okay. Then there's the one, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Right, like you gonna do something stupid. That's what, now when I hear that one, that's what I get. It's like you gonna do something off the wall, something crazy, and now all of a sudden you don't come. Matter of fact, I got something that's along those lines. Yeah. So this is in continuation. There is in the case of inappropriate behaviors and not living on code, this is a different because we are all called to judge. Collective work and the responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on to another one. So I think, is it safe to say that all of these have a light and a dark? And I think it's situational. Is that maybe what I'm hearing? Maybe not. So y'all let me know. All right. So here's one that I actually heard for the first time the other day. Maybe y'all have heard this, right? Have you ever heard, remember the rain that made your corn grow? Have you ever heard of that one? Now, I heard this for the first time yesterday, and what it started to make me think of was like, remember where you came from, which can go in two different directions again. Because some people say that, if I started in a relationship where I didn't have anything, and now I have came to stardom, or I have came to quote unquote, I came to some space where now I have made it. Well, now it's like, oh, you're supposed to remember those who helped you out, right? Is what I got from this one. Which could also be, though, could it be that these people were in your life when you didn't have nothing because they weren't doing anything? Could that be it too? Could this be problematic? Could this be an issue? All right, ain't nobody ever heard this one, huh? Never. This one sounds like a sexual harassment case. Boy, y'all crazy. All right, ain't never heard that one, but I get what it would mean. Okay, all right, you walking with me. All right, so nobody ain't never heard of this one. Everybody's in the Aki Jason boat on this one. All right. Not at all. Said, I've heard, I give Jack his jacket, give unto Caesar what is Caesar, would those be similar? I heard, give Jack his jacket, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, would those be similar? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. I don't know. I ain't never heard of that one either. All right. I ain't never heard of that. Never heard of that one. Heard, remember where you came from, or from someone, or remember what I've done for you. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. You used to control and get people to stay in a detrimental situation. Right. It could become problematic. When it's like, and they put this form of guilt on you, of saying that, oh, you moving on or you moving along, but you ain't gonna remember, what about us? Well, sometimes these people are not in a space that is going to help cultivate one's growth into what they are becoming and where they're going. They want to pull them back into what they should be doing or what they think they should be doing, which ultimately could become problematic. That's scripture, which, I ain't. Mark 12:17. I still ain't give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. All right, there we go. All right, so I got another one, and this one is pertaining to relationships. Boom. Why pay for the cow when you get the milk for free? How many of you have heard of this one? And would you say it is true, or would you say there's some issues with this one? Why pay for the cow when you get the milk for free? And that was always brought up in the sense of, you know what? If you put out or if you get some, then ain't nothing gonna come of it because you giving away the milk, right? You giving away the milk. You giving away your goodies. My goodies. You giving away all of the yogurt box. So one should hold out. Which one could start to look at that if a man was to only be around because one held out, then that might become an issue. You'd be like, then that dude is an idiot. But at the same time, one could engage in problematic behavior if they start going and crossing lines and boundaries, depending on whatever their communal structure is. Now, if one is living by worldly things, this is usually what is being said. So, all right. Aki Jason comes in and says, yeah, go with it, Aki Jason. Don't you need the cow to get the milk? Right. But if you're getting the milk, then why would you pay for the cow? That's like what it's trying to tell you, right? It's like if I'm trying to get you to get the cow, but you're already getting the milk, then what would you need the cow for if you get the milk? Is almost is what it's trying to convey. Emma Quee says, yes, I've heard that one. No need to work for it. Alpha Woman says, I've heard that one, and no, it is not detrimental, though we think the woman is the prize. So from that angle, does feed delusion, right? Abu Harut says, LOL, I've heard it from a movie only. I'm not really sure what it means. All right. There you go. Alpha Woman says it's a causation against premarital sex, but it's used to tell females they are the prize and need to be of value. Oh, caution. All right, I got you. I'm walking with you. Okay, cool. So, all right, I'm gonna move on. There's another one on here where maybe you have heard people say this and maybe you haven't, but they say men and women can't be friends. Men and women can't be friends. Were you told that when you were younger? Do you think that it's true? Do you think that men and women can be friends, or does it end up leading to issues where people, or does it almost end up leading to one saying that they're dating and not courting, right? Or does it end up saying, nah, man, men and women can be friends. Men and women are totally can hold boundaries between one another, and they are totally fine. What would you say to this? Is it problematic? Is it detrimental? Or is it like, no, you should be learning separate, and men should be with men, women should be learning with women, and over here, and keep it rolling? What you say, Master Miller says, oh, yeah, sounds like those whose actions say, why join our new when you can get on YouTube for free, talking about the cow. Yeah, you could say that. Foreman says, I heard it and agree. Chief has even spoke it in folly of many men tilling one field. You ain't lying. Spoken on. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. And so many people think, though, that they're like the movie the other day that we all watched, is thinking that they're above or they are beyond what they see in their own day-to-day activity. Or, that will never happen to me. Or I am, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then start to look at things from an arrogant or egotistical space and not take heed to what somebody has told them. So, yeah. Coach Yafe says she's not was not told that and doesn't remember hearing it except in songs. Right? All right. All right. What about this one? Boom. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. Have you heard the grass ain't always greener on the other side? Now, this could be where it keeps one stuck in a position or in a space where they are saying, you know what, I'm not going to go out and expand. I'm not going to go out and do anything because I don't know if, it may not be better over there to do something else, which I think ultimately, and it might be just how you use it, but could be detrimental to say that, the grass ain't always, and yeah, it ain't always greener. Or some people will say, stay and water your own grass. But this one can start to hold many back from actually going out and saying, you know what, or being overly cautious of saying, I got to go out. You can even look at this in the sense where they got the having a home base. And that comes from the attachment theory of when one doesn't have a home base and doesn't have something solid that they know that they can return to, which you could look at this in two different ways. Then they sometimes present anxious, disorganized, or maybe not being able, so curious to go out, and they don't want to explore. At the same time, though, some people don't even know what they have what's right in front of them, and now they're always looking for something that's self-serving. And when it becomes self-serving, then it's like, all right, I'm going over here. And then now you burn the bridge that ultimately you want to walk back over. So, yeah. Emma Quia says, word, that's true. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, or I can be what is not all one thinks it is. Right. Coach Yafe says, yes, and I agree, yet it comes with discernment. Point I knew is the greener grass for many of us. In my best, a Coach Maria voice. This is true. Emma Quia says, I think that statement is true. The grass isn't always greener, or it is, but it is fake grass. Right. That's why they can't be friends, because the confusion, chaos, and misunderstanding ensue when people attempt to do this. Right? True. The man gives light. The woman is a receiving vessel. If she has multiple male friends, she will live in confusion from a light or a different compass offering direction. She may be a Jezebel. Come on then, sister. Come on through. Come on through. All right. And a lot of this came from when we were watching the movie It Girl yesterday. And I'm glad you said that, because yesterday when we were watching the movie, they were all sitting there having a conversation, and you start to hear some of the things that have been learned from whatever, I don't know where they got their information from or where they were learning, but they start going around in circles. And just what you say, like, that's why it can't be, because because of the confusion. Things start to become very confusing when one is not a part of a community, and they start to try to figure things out on their own. And they start to take things in a way of how they want it to see because of what they want to do. So now all of a sudden they start to take things and go in directions that are very problematic, because it only becomes self-serving. It only becomes what I want. And when it becomes what I want, then we start to twist and mangle things in ways that ultimately put us in problematic situations that therefore now how do you start to maneuver and get out of it? So now one has to break down the layered cake, in a sense, for one to figure out, well, what one perceives to be the truth, and then what one perceives to be a fact, and then what one perceives to be a belief. Right? So you start to break things down in a way that you can get down to a belief, and then when you start to or an opinion, because a fact is no more than an agreed upon opinion, and then you build it back up. But when one is trying to figure these things out, or saying some of these things, or living by some of these things, but not really looking at in context of how the relationship is with the community, or does not belong to a community, well, then now we have problems. We have big problems. All right. I got a couple more, and then we're going to get up out of here, because this is, yeah. I mean, well, actually, I got a lot more, but I'm going to just give a couple more, and then we're going to move around. How about this one? Can't plant dirt and reap harvest. My grandfather used to tell me this, and I think it is spot on, of almost speaking towards karma, of what you do today, whether you plant, and if you start doing negative, then it will come back around, and you will learn that is going to be an issue. And don't start to complain when things become problematic in your life, right? So you can't do people wrong. You can't start to think that you can talk to people any kind of way. You can do anything that you want, and things will not come or be an issue, right? So yeah. And we'll do one more, and show you some stuff, and then we'll make it do what it do. All right, and then here we go. This one I saw the other day is stuck between a rock and a hard place, which some people might say is a wicked problem. And one might hear this and feel like they have no answers, no way of moving, no way of going beyond where they're at. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it has no answer, which ultimately would be problematic and an issue. So yeah, stuck between a rock and a hard place, which it looks like we stuck between a rock and a hard place now. Yeah, so I have some more, but nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up with that one. Unless anybody else has anything they want to add, I will I'm going to play this. I don't know if this is, I've never played it on there, so we're going to see, but
we scatter, no matter, we your people, original people. They go west, they go east, they go north, they go south, right.
All right, so that's the retreat that is coming up this August 24th. You can apply. You got the You got my brother Achi Zach, who comes on Thursdays. Master Menelek, who does his drawing, I think, on Tuesdays. You have Chief, who comes on Tuesdays with the podcast, which you've seen earlier with the slides. You have, am I missing anything? I don't think so. Oh, Fridays, where I think coming up is a Koti Maria and Softa Ahaba. You can catch everything on the new channel. Yeah. I think that's it. My main thing was though, the blog. Thank you, Coach Yafe, and the blog. Make sure that's matter of fact, let's just put the banners up so you can see it. And boom. So here's the blog. Whoa. There we go. Blogs. You got subscribe today to Chief Yuya podcast. Available now for free. You can join, download Global Ministries. This is the book that has, so once you see certain phrases like strong or woman, you can start to understand what is being said. So you have that. You can make an impact by donating today. Sadulu House, bada bing, bada boom. All right. So I am going to pull that down. I'm going to end it with that. If nobody has anything else to say, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I don't know how this. We're gonna be back to our regularly scheduled program the next time. So, yeah. All right, cool. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you the next time. Yeah, peace.